My m40, wife's f44, selfishness is ruining our marriage. Where is the line drawn? I, 40 male, and my wife, f44, have two major sources of contention in our marriage. 1. Her total refusal to share a bed for nearly our entire marriage, just celebrated 7 years. 2. Her total refusal, since the birth of our twins, to parent alone for even brief periods of time. Despite countless promises to improve, years of personal therapy and dedicated couples counseling, this behavior isn't just continuing, it seems to be getting worse despite the very real prospect of separation. Since I can't sleep in our master bedroom, I sleep in the den in the basement. We alternate the night shift to get up with the kids if needed, still happens about every other night. Our 3-year-old twins are both sick right now. I essentially pulled an all-nighter caring for them both. Just 20 minutes after I got the second twin back to sleep, my wife woke up from a sleep-in, 9 p.m. to 6:45 a.m. After explaining I had been up all night, I asked if I could go back to bed for a little bit while the twins were catching up on their missed sleep. I even insisted that she wake me up the moment they were both up so she wouldn't have to parent both alone. Her response was immediate hesitation. No sympathy for my exhaustion, no gratitude for my all-night effort caring for our children, and no understanding that I desperately needed some rest. Just how this scenario would impact her. She directly stated that she didn't want to have to parent alone, possibly for hours. Even having to mind one child alone if they woke up at different times bothered her. She countered that I should just wait until the evening to rest because, unbeknownst to me, she had arranged for a caretaker to come help me parent in the evening while she attended a yoga class. Totally, out of the blue, brand new news to me. I tried explaining how unreasonable it was I couldn't go back to bed and how left out I felt about these random plans she had made without a single word of discussion with me. I was met with her typical anger, denial, and defensiveness. An unstoppable zone she gets into during even the most innocuous conversations, conflicts. The twins ended up sleeping for another 3 uninterrupted hours I could have spent sleeping. But no. After a long while of silence, her tone and story changed. Once the twins were up, she made a half-assed apology, while avoiding any fault, and insisted I go rest now, finally. Apparently what she had meant to say all along was that I should rest while the twins are sleeping, which I had by now missed out on, and then sleep when the care provider arrived. 2 naps for me was the offer all along. I never ended up getting to rest or nap at all. When the care provider arrived, I had to slip out and get groceries before my wife left for yoga. After she left, I bathed one of the twins, fed them supper, and got them ready for bed. The caretaker was helpful playing with one while I tended to another, but nothing I couldn't have done on my own, have done so many times now. This is far from an isolated incident and I am at my absolute wit's end. And she knows we're on the verge of separation for this exact selfish behavior, which she has previously sworn to me will change, many times. How much selfishness and broken promises is a spouse expected to endure regardless of mental health, obliviousness, unaddressed anxiety, and chronic postpartum depression? Recent example. We rented a cabin on the lake for 3 nights last week to reconnect as a couple and work on sharing a bed, her idea. First night was okay. Second night she complained of a crappy sleep, for which I was clearly at fault for, and then she napped the whole morning away. Third night I had to literally sleep outside on the 2-seater patio bench with only the bed top sheet to cover me. She got up in a huff and stomped around a while. I asked her what's up and she claimed my snoring was keeping her up. When I explained I wasn't even sleeping yet either, her story changed to, well, you're going to snore and knowing that is keeping me from sleeping. Her angry reaction and treatment of me was heartbreaking and ruined our vacation. Imagine having to sleep outside with only a sheet, because you might snore. I waited on her hand and foot the whole time. I cooked every meal, brought her every drink, gave her massages. It was a punch to the gut that still hurts. The next morning she seemed to be remorseful. She pinky swore, sacred to us, that her behavior was unacceptable and it would never happen again. She expressed sincere remorse for withholding, sharing a bed, for so many years and swore that starting, right now, we would be sharing a bed from now on, that she'd do whatever it takes, including sleep medication and increasing her anxiety and antidepressant meds. And until she could unpack it with her psychiatrist, she would just tough it out. We have been home a week now and there hasn't been a solitary invitation to join her in bed, once again. It's like the promise never even happened like all the ones before. How does she not see how selfish this is? What does your own therapist say? Leave. Just leave. Take the kids, because they are probably safer with you and better cared for. It will be easier when you drop the dead weight. Also, you are grown and she is not your boss, mom, and she does not own you. Stand up for yourself. 50-50 means 50-50. You need to put your foot down at times. Whose idea were the children? Because it sounds like she really doesn't want to be a parent. Please leave her. This hurt my heart to even read. Best wishes to you. My boyfriend, 24M, grabbed me, 22F, by the throat. This just happened, so my brain is scattered. My boyfriend, 24 male, and I, 22 female, just got into an argument that escalated to him grabbing me by throat and arms. He asked me to borrow my robe that I was wearing and I said no, we have 2 robes, and then he took my bowl piece from my bong and started walking away with it. I grabbed him by the hood of the robe and pulled him back, to grab my bowl piece back. He went to the bathroom, and when he came out he said I injured him. I said I am sorry, it hurts, but I really don't think you're injured. He started calling me a hypocrite because I told him to not tell me I am overreacting about pain when he doesn't know how much pain I'm in, and that's a fair point, I guess, but I said sorry for hurting him, that was not my intention. He kept going on about the situation. At this point I stopped listening because he was going up octaves and getting more aggressive. I kept yelling at him to stop talking. I tried to grab my keys to leave and he blocked the door, screaming at me that I am going to listen to him. I tried to push past him and he grabbed me by the throat and arm to move me away from the door. I screamed for my roommate, who came and opened my door, and I ran out and left. I am currently sitting in our spare room, scared and unsure what to do. We've been together for over a year and a half. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. But I know a lot of domestic violence survivors, and this is how it starts. Is this the end of my relationship, or can it be a one-time thing? You know a lot of domestic violence survivors, and you know this is how it starts. No, it's not a one-time thing, and yes, it is the end of the relationship. Grabbing by the throat or choking is one of the most serious indicators that the victim will eventually be killed by her abuser. You two shouldn't be together anyway. Your communication skills are terrible. End the relationship. If you felt it was appropriate to grab him by the hood for your bong, and he felt it was okay to trap you and grab you, you both are toxic for each other. These things don't happen in healthy relationships. Leave, please. Now is when you acknowledge that every ex he has isn't actually a psycho, and most likely has a very similar story about him picking fights and abusing them. You already know this is over. Tonight is when this relationship ended. Now unfuck yourself from being entangled with him. I 25F found out my husband 31M was cheating on me throughout our whole relationship. Does it get better? Will I eventually not spite him? My husband and I have a 6-month-old together. I found his dating accounts when I was in my 3rd trimester. I confronted him about it and he didn't deny it. Although he wasn't honest and tried to diminish it. Later I have found out that he did in fact meet up with someone, has been engaging in explicit texts and receiving nude photos. He swears he never was physical with anyone but did meet up with someone for lunch. IDK, my gut tells me there is probably more to the story. We are in this weird limbo zone where we are trying to pretend everything is okay. He begged me to let him prove he loves me and wants to have a family with me, but to be honest there hasn't been much making up, in my opinion. Maybe doing a couple extra chores around the house. Planned one date. But I couldn't even enjoy it because I just can't look at him the same. IDK, what I'm going to do. I pictured the perfect white picket fence family. But I'm just so miserable when I'm around him. It's been a couple weeks since I found out everything. Anyone have experience with this and it working out? I want what's best for my kid, but also me. How did I get here? I feel so stupid. I thought we were soulmates. And now I can barely look at him. You are not stupid. You were lied to by someone you trusted. Heart goes out to you and the baby in your situation. My son's biological father did that. I, however, at the time, didn't give him a second chance. I left him. For him and I it was the best choice. During the beginning of my pregnancy he outright stated that he, a grown man, should come before the baby growing inside me. As a mother-to-be, this was ridiculous, and I just couldn't see him the same. Any suggestions I put forward were shot down, and yet the same advice from a woman at his work, and he was all for it. I hope you make the best decision for you and your baby. Edited for Right Relationship. Test for STDs and look for a divorce lawyer. It isn't going to get better. He's simply going to get better at hiding it from you. He cheated on you your whole relationship and you're still thinking of staying? He must have a golden dick and a millionaire bank account. What's best for your kid is to see mom in a healthy relationship. It's not as if the relationship was okay then he cheated and you want to renew things back to how they were. If he cheated the entire relationship then the whole thing was a lie that never existed and you can't fix this. You need to leave. My husband, 33 male, is drinking until 4 a.m. and it's driving me, 29 female, insane. My husband and I have been married less than 1 year. We just recently bought a house and it so happens to be in the same neighborhood as his best friend. Not long after we moved in, my husband began going over to his place and would drink with him until 4 a.m. I would beg him to please come home and he would refuse. After the first time it happened, he was apologetic and said it was too late to be out drinking. Well, you can guess what happened next. It happened again. It has happened multiple times now where my husband will stay out at his house until sunrise drinking, playing video games, cards, whatever. He will stumble home, throw up, and then sleep the entire next day. He tells me it's ridiculous of me to be upset about him, just being out late, or that, it's okay to drink, or, why won't you let me have fun with my friends? But to me, drinking until 4 a.m. each weekend is not normal behavior. Especially at this age, and when you claim you're ready for children. I've tried to compromise on him coming home by 2 a.m., but that doesn't work either. I'm really at a loss here and feel like moving into this neighborhood was a giant mistake. Can anyone please give insight on how to handle this? I'd probably look into AA so that you can learn how to deal with an alcoholic. Also find yourself a therapist and maybe a good lawyer. Good luck. You've married an alcoholic. I'm sorry. There are resources out there for people dealing with alcoholic relatives, including support groups and therapy. AA is only one of them. Unfortunately, any change that he might make to stop drinking is going to have to come from him. Do not delude yourself into thinking you can change him. Given that he's in denial about it even being a problem, he won't change. I recommend getting an attorney and considering divorce. Be grateful you don't have kids. Good luck to you. You deserve better. I was with someone like this. It's a big reason I don't have kids who wants that as a father. FFS, it's not the neighborhood, it's your husband. He's choosing to spend his leisure time with his friend, not you. When you claim you're ready for children. For God's sake, don't get pregnant. He's not listening to your concerns and he's behaving like a teenager. There's no consequences to this for him and he's ignoring you. I think you have to have a discussion with him about whether you're in a marriage or not. Your husband is in alcoholic territory. It might be once a week, but it's not normal to stay out all night long and binge drink every single time. He needs to get it together or you need to make some choices because this is only going to get worse.